I don't even know if I want to ask this, but if, the fit and the healthy are having to flee into the ocean to keep themselves away from the flames, I wonder about the older residents on Maui.
I spoke to one lady who had also had to run into the ocean to escape the flames. Her face was covered with burns from embers that had fallen on her face while she was in the sea. And she was telling me the most heartrending story, that she had an elderly neighbour and she'd walked him down to the sea, and she'd managed to get him to sit on the rocks that were near the rocks that were sort of near the harbour area. And she said embers from the fire kept falling on his shirt, and they would set his shirt alight, and she'd pat him down to try and make the flames go out, but he just was not strong enough to go into the sea. And she was incredibly emotional as she told the story of how she'd had to watch her neighbour die. And she quite understandably was saying, how could this have happened? Why was I in the position where I didn't get a text message? I didn't get any alert. And instead I had to watch my friends and neighbours take their last breath. And I think that sort of sums up just how unprepared people in Lahaina were for the ferocity of these fires. And I think asking the question, should the authorities have done better here?
You've already mentioned the fact that, I don't want to call it a blame game, but clearly people there and people elsewhere will be looking for answers as to why this happened. We've mentioned Lahaina a few times now, and as I understand it, in Hawaiian, that means cruel or merciless sun. This is a part of the world in which wildfires are not unknown. If a finger of blame is being pointed by people there, in which direction right now?
Yeah, they have wildfires regularly here, and so it's not unusual. I think as the days have gone on since these wildfires, the search for answers and accountability has definitely intensified. I think certainly that question of who was responsible for issuing the command to make this alert system go off, I think that is subject to a government review at the moment. I think people are most keen to find the answers to that. I've also been speaking to firefighters on the island who are saying that when these flames were at their most ferocious, when they were battling to save properties and save lives, their fire hydrants were running out of water. They were first losing pressure and then they were running dry entirely. So I think there's a question about why, when Western Maui in particular was designated as a high-risk fire zone, the authorities knew about that. Why wasn't there more preparedness? So I think maybe the fingers at the moment are being pointed at state level, at the Governor, Josh Green. There's also questions for Hawaii Electric, which is the utility company on the island, suggestions that it may have been downed power lines as a result of the hurricane force winds that were coming through that caused these fires. Also questions about why Hawaii Electric didn't turn off the power, because people think that may have intensified these blazes too. So I think probably fingers pointed at the authorities and at Hawaiian Electric. And there's a lawsuit already from residents of Lahaina against Hawaiian Electric. So I think we'll see that all play out in the days and weeks to come.